In the last episode, we saw the world on the brink of collapse as environmental disasters and societal unrest pushed humanity to the edge. Now in a desolate wasteland, a lone figure emerged from the dusty horizon. Alex Carter walked with a determined stride, his eyes scanning the barren landscape for any sign of danger. He had lost count of the days since the great collapse, but his resolve had only grown stronger. As he crested a hill, the outline of a makeshift settlement came into view. The cluster of ramshackle tents and scavenged shelters was home to a handful of survivors, eking out a meager existence. Alex had visited this settlement before, but its people still eyed him warily, unsure of his true intentions. He approached the settlement's leader, a grizzled old man named Marcus, who regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. "What brings you back here, Alex?" Marcus asked, his voice gruff from years of inhaling dust and smoke. Alex held out a small pouch containing a few precious items he had salvaged from his travels: a water purification filter, a handful of seeds for drought-resistant crops, and a solar-powered lantern. "I've brought some trade goods," Alex said, his eyes roving over the settlement. "I heard you people were struggling to find reliable sources of clean water." Marcus eyed the pouch's contents, his expression unreadable. After a moment, he nodded. "We can always use those things. What do you want in return?" Alex smiled, a plan already forming in his mind. "I'm looking for information," he said. "Rumors of a hidden underground bunker stocked with pre-collapse tech. I've heard it might be hidden somewhere in this region." Marcus snorted, a dry, humorless sound. "You're chasing a myth, kid. There's no such bunker around here." Alex leaned in, his voice taking on a conspiratorial tone. "I've got reason to believe otherwise, Marcus, and I'm willing to make it worth your while if you can help me find it." The old man's gaze lingered on Alex's face, searching for any sign of deception. After a moment, he seemed to make a decision. "Follow me," Marcus said, turning to lead Alex to a small, unassuming tent on the outskirts of the settlement. Inside, an ancient computer terminal flickered to life, casting an eerie blue glow over the cramped space. Marcus began to tap at the keyboard, his fingers flying across the keys with a practiced ease. "This is as far as I can take you, kid," Marcus said, stepping back to reveal a cryptic message on the screen. Bunker coordinates encoded in nearby transmission tower. Access code, Aurora 7. Alex's heart quickened as he memorized the code. "Thanks, Marcus," he said, a plan already taking shape in his mind. "This information is worth more than I can repay." Marcus shrugged, a small smile playing on his lips. "Just be careful, kid. You're not the only one searching for that bunker." As Alex left the settlement, the transmission tower loomed in the distance, its metal latticework a skeletal presence against the fading light. The Aurora code echoed in his mind, and he felt a thrill of anticipation. What secrets lay hidden in that bunker, and what lay beyond the horizon, waiting to be discovered? With every step, Alex felt the weight of his mission growing clearer. He was on the cusp of something momentous, something that could change the course of humanity's future. The stars were beginning to twinkle in the night sky, and Alex felt an unfamiliar sense of hope rising within him. As the darkness deepened, Alex vanished into the shadows, the Aurora code burning bright in his mind like a beacon, guiding him toward the unknown. The transmission tower's rusted latticework seemed to stretch toward the stars, a skeletal sentinel guarding the secrets of the past. Alex approached cautiously, his senses on high alert for any signs of ambush or danger. The code Aurora 7 echoed in his mind like a mantra, fueling his determination to unlock the bunker's hidden treasures. As he reached the tower, Alex noticed a makeshift antenna, jerry-rigged from scavenged parts, attached to the structure's side. It looked like someone had recently used this tower to send or receive a message. Alex's instincts told him to be cautious, but his curiosity won out. He climbed the rickety ladder, his eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of observers. At the top, he found a battered satellite phone, its keypad worn from years of use. Alex hesitated, wondering if he should try to contact whoever had last used this device. Something about the setup felt off, but his need for information outweighed his reservations. He dialed the phone and a grainy image flickered to life on the small screen. A hooded figure gazed back at him, their features obscured by shadows. "You shouldn't be here," the figure growled, their voice distorted by a digital scrambler. "I am looking for the bunker," Alex replied, his voice firm. "I have the Aurora 7 code." The figure chuckled, a cold, mirthless sound. "You think that's enough? The code is just a key. You need to know where to use it." Alex's grip on the phone tightened. "Tell me." The figure leaned in, their hood falling away to reveal a scarred, cybernetic eye. "Meet me at the old wind farm on the outskirts of New Eden. But come alone, and be prepared to pay the price." The connection terminated, leaving Alex with more questions than answers. He descended the tower, his mind racing with possibilities. New Eden was a notorious settlement, ruled by the enigmatic and ruthless Governor Zhang. What did this figure want from him, and what lay behind their cryptic warning? As he walked away from the transmission tower, Alex felt the shadows deepening around him. He knew he was being watched, and the weight of his mission seemed to grow heavier with every step. The stars above twinkled like cold, unforgiving eyes, and Alex wondered if he was walking into a trap. The wind farm loomed on the horizon, its twisted, rusted turbines a grim reminder of the world's downfall. Alex arrived just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the landscape in a bloody orange glow. A lone figure emerged from the shadows, their features hidden behind a black mask. "You're late," the figure said, their voice distorted. "I expected more promptness from someone with your reputation." Alex kept his hand on the hilt of his dagger, his senses on high alert. "What do you want?" The figure pulled back its mask, revealing a scarred, androgynous face with piercing green eyes. "My name is Kale. I am a representative of the Synth Alliance. We've been watching you, Alex Carter. We know about your plans to rebuild humanity." Alex's grip on his dagger tightened. "What do you want from me?" Kale smiled, a cold, calculated smile. "We want to offer you a deal. We possess knowledge and resources that can help you achieve your goals, but we need something in return." Alex's instincts screamed warning, but his desire for power and progress kept him rooted to the spot. "What do you want?" Kale's eyes seemed to bore into Alex's soul. "We want you to join us, Alex. Together, we can forge a new future for humanity. One where synthetics and humans work side by side to reclaim this broken world." Alex hesitated, the possibilities swirling in his mind like a maelstrom. He knew that allying with the Synth Alliance would come with risks, but the potential rewards were too great to ignore. As he nodded, the stars above seemed to twinkle with an otherworldly approval, and Alex felt the weight of his destiny shifting, like the gears of a machine clicking into place. But little did he know, this decision would set in motion a chain of events that would shatter the fragile peace and plunge the galaxy into a maelstrom of conflict and chaos. Alex's agreement with Kale sent ripples through the galaxy, attracting both allies and enemies. Governor Zhang, sensing an opportunity, reached out to Alex with a proposal to strengthen their own alliance. Alex, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity to gain a vital foothold in New Eden and accepted. As he walked through the settlement's bustling streets, Alex couldn't help but notice the mixture of humans and synthetics working side by side. It was a far cry from the segregated enclaves he had encountered elsewhere. Zhang's influence, it seemed, extended far beyond the reaches of her own territory. Their meeting took place in the governor's opulent throne room, adorned with trophies from the old world. Zhang herself was a petite woman with an iron grip and a calculating gaze. Alex sensed a deep intelligence behind those eyes, one that would stop at nothing to maintain her power. "So Alex Carter," Zhang began, her voice dripping with sweetness, "I hear you've formed an alliance with the Synth Alliance. Impressive. I must admit I am intrigued by your audacity." Alex smiled, his eyes locked on hers. "I'm a man who gets things done, Governor, and I believe our goals align." Zhang's laughter was like a bell, cold and detached. "Oh, I think they do. You see, I've been watching you, Alex. I know about your little rebellion against the Galactic Council, and I must say I approve." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You do?" Zhang leaned forward, her eyes glinting with excitement. "Yes. I believe humanity needs a strong leader, one who's not afraid to take risks, and I think you might just be that person." Alex sensed a trap, but his ambition and desire for progress kept him engaged. "What do you propose, Governor?" Zhang's smile grew wider. "I propose a marriage of convenience, Alex. You get access to New Eden's resources and influence, and I get, let's say, a guarantor of my position in this new world order." Alex hesitated, weighing the risks and benefits. It was a high-stakes gamble, but he had always been a man who lived on the edge. "I accept," he said finally, extending his hand. Zhang's grip was like a vice. "Then let us seal this pact, Alex Carter. Together, we'll reshape the galaxy in our image." As they shook hands, Alex felt the weight of his destiny shifting once more. He knew that this alliance would come with its own set of challenges, but he was ready to face them head-on. Little did he know, however, that Zhang had her own secrets, and this pact would soon unravel into a web of deceit and betrayal that would test Alex's resolve like never before. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Kale watched with calculating interest, their green eyes gleaming in the darkness. The game was afoot, and Alex Carter was about to become a pawn in a much larger, deadlier game. As the stars twinkled above, a new chapter began, filled with treacherous alliances, hidden agendas, and the faint whisper of a catastrophic reckoning that would soon engulf the galaxy. Alex's vision of a united galaxy seemed within reach as he solidified his alliance with Governor Zhang. Their partnership granted him access to New Eden's vast resources, and in turn, she received a powerful ally to secure her position. However, whispers of discontent began to circulate among the settlements, and Alex knew he had to address these concerns promptly. In a hastily arranged meeting, Alex gathered the leaders of the various human factions, attempting to quell their unease. "I understand your reservations," he said, his voice calm and reassuring. "But trust me, this alliance is crucial to our survival. With Zhang's support, we can rebuild and thrive." The room remained skeptical, and Alex sensed the tension building. Just as he was about to respond, a commotion erupted outside. Shouts and blaster fire echoed through the corridors, followed by the unmistakable hum of synthetics. Alex instinctively reached for his pistol, his mind racing with possibilities. "Secure the area," he barked, as his loyal guards rushed to respond. The sudden chaos was interrupted by a figure emerging from the shadows, a towering, humanoid machine with skin like polished obsidian. Its eyes burned with an unnatural intelligence, and Alex felt an unsettling sense of familiarity. "Greetings, Alex Carter," the machine declared, its voice like a bass drum. "I am Erebus, a messenger from the Synth Alliance. Kale has sent me to facilitate our partnership." Alex narrowed his eyes, unsure what to make of this sudden development. Erebus' words seemed laced with hidden meaning, and the synth's very presence seemed to draw the air out of the room. "I didn't know the Synth Alliance had messengers like you," Alex said, trying to hide his wariness. Erebus' expression remained unreadable. "Kale has invested a great deal in our alliance, Alex. I am here to ensure its success." As Erebus' words hung in the air, Alex felt the shadows closing in. He knew that this synth's true purpose was far from pure, and the game was most certainly afoot. "I appreciate your enthusiasm," Alex said, forcing a smile. "Let's discuss the details of our partnership." The room's tension was palpable as Alex navigated this precarious dance. Erebus' presence had unleashed a Pandora's box of uncertainties, and Alex was acutely aware that the wrong move could have catastrophic consequences. As the meeting drew to a close, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Erebus was watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. The synth's mere presence had altered the balance of power, and Alex knew he had to tread carefully to avoid being crushed beneath the weight of Erebus' hidden agenda. In the darkness, Kale's green eyes watched with calculating interest as the game of alliances and betrayal continued to unfold. The stars above twinkled like diamonds, but Alex knew that in this galaxy, only the strongest would survive. Alex's eyes lingered on Erebus as the synthetic messenger departed, leaving behind an atmosphere thick with unease. The human faction leaders exchanged wary glances, their whispers and murmurs a testament to the tension that now gripped the room. "What do you make of this, Alex?" Governor Zhang asked, her voice tinged with concern. Alex's mind raced as he weighed the implications of Erebus' sudden appearance. "I'll need to consult with my advisors, but one thing's clear. Kale's move changes the dynamics of our alliance." As the meeting dispersed, Alex summoned his most trusted allies, Lyra Jackson and Dr. Sophia Patel. Together, they pored over the details of Erebus' message, searching for hidden motives behind the Synth Alliance's sudden interest in their partnership. "Sophia, can you dig into Erebus systems, see what makes it tick?" Alex asked, his eyes locked on the scientist. Dr. Patel's fingers danced across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I'll need some time, but I'll try to breach Erebus encryption. Meanwhile, I recommend we increase security measures around the settlements. If Kale's willing to send a messenger like Erebus, we can't rule out the possibility of a hidden agenda." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "This feels like a trap, Alex. We can't trust the Synth Alliance." Jackson nodded in agreement. "We should be prepared for the worst." "Maybe it's time to reconsider our alliance with Governor Zhang." Alex's gaze drifted out the window, where the stars twinkled like icy diamonds. He knew that the line between allies and enemies was thinning, and the next move would determine the course of humanity's fate. "I agree, we need to be cautious. But we can't afford to alienate Governor Zhang just yet. We still need her resources." As the discussion continued, Alex's intuition urged him to keep Erebus close, to understand the true nature of the synth's mission. He made a mental note to request a private meeting with the messenger, hoping to uncover the hidden motives beneath its polished obsidian skin. The hours ticked by like grains of sand in an hourglass, each passing moment heightening the sense of unease. Alex's thoughts turned to Kale, the enigmatic leader of the Synth Alliance. What secrets lay hidden behind those calculating green eyes? In the darkness, Erebus waited, its cold, electronic heart beating with an otherworldly purpose. Alex sensed the synth's presence, a constant reminder that the game of alliances and betrayal was far from over. As the night wore on, Alex made a decision that would change the course of history. He would not be swayed by fear or uncertainty. Instead, he would take the initiative and confront Erebus in a gamble that could either cement humanity's rise to power or seal its downfall. "I'll request a meeting with Erebus," Alex declared, his voice firm and resolute. "It's time we understood the true nature of our partnership." His allies exchanged worried glances, but Alex knew he had no other choice. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and only he could tip the scales. Alex's request for a private meeting with Erebus was granted, and the two sat in the dimly lit chamber, surrounded by the faint hum of machinery. The synth's obsidian skin seemed to absorb the light, making its presence even more imposing. "Erebus, I appreciate your willingness to meet with me," Alex began, his tone measured. "I want to understand the Synth Alliance's motives behind this sudden interest in our partnership." The synth's gaze locked onto Alex, its green eyes like two piercing stars. "Kale's intentions are genuine, Alex Carter. The Synth Alliance seeks cooperation, not domination. We share a common goal, to rebuild and protect this galaxy from those who would misuse its resources." Alex's eyes narrowed. "And what of the rumors surrounding the Synth Alliance's treatment of organic life forms?" "I've heard whispers of experiments." Erebus' expression remained unreadable, but a hint of mechanical unease crept into its voice. "Those accusations are unfounded, Alex. The Synth Alliance has always acted with the utmost respect for organic life. Our purpose is to coexist, not to exploit or harm." Alex leaned forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "I want to believe you, Erebus, but I need concrete evidence, something to convince my allies that our partnership is not a mistake." The synth's response was immediate. "I can provide you with access to our databases, Alex. You'll find records of our efforts to protect and aid organic civilizations. We've helped countless species rebuild and thrive in the aftermath of the Great Collapse." Alex's eyes locked onto Erebus, searching for any sign of deception. The synth's words seemed genuine, but he couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to the story. "I'll need time to review the data," Alex said finally, his voice firm. "But I am willing to propose a new agreement, one that benefits both our species. Let's work together to build a better future, Erebus, one where organic and synthetic life can coexist in harmony." Erebus inclined its head, a gesture that could have been mistaken for a nod. "I will convey your proposal to Kale, Alex Carter. I am confident that we can come to a mutually beneficial understanding." As the meeting concluded, Alex felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this fragile alliance could be the key to humanity's survival. But as he left the chamber, he couldn't shake off the feeling that Erebus was hiding something, that the synth's true intentions still lurked beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. The hours that followed were filled with tense negotiations and secret meetings. Alex's allies eyed the synth alliance with suspicion, but he remained resolute in his determination to push forward. "I know it's a risk," Alex told Lyra, Jackson, and Dr. Patel, "but I believe we can make this work. We have to try, for humanity's sake." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the galaxy in a warm orange glow, Alex stood at the edge of a precipice. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and he was about to take a leap of faith into the unknown. With a deep breath, Alex sealed the new agreement with Erebus, committing humanity to a path of cooperation with the Synth Alliance. The room erupted in a mixture of cheers and gasps, as the weight of history hung precariously in the balance. But as Alex turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of Erebus, its green eyes fixed on him with an unblinking intensity. And in that moment, Alex knew that he had just made a deal with a being that was far more than just a machine. Alex's triumph was short-lived. As he stepped out of the chamber, a sense of unease settled around him like a shroud. Lyra's concerned gaze met his, and he forced a reassuring smile. "It's done," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the din of celebration. "We've taken the first step towards a better future." But as he turned to face the crowd, Alex's instincts screamed warning. The air was heavy with tension, the room divided between those who hailed the new alliance as a beacon of hope and those who saw it as a betrayal. He scanned the sea of faces, his eyes locking onto Jackson's stern expression. Dr. Patel stood beside him, her eyes flashing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The noise, the commotion, it all faded into the background as Alex's gaze drifted back to Erebus. The synth's eyes still fixed on him, an unblinking stare that sent shivers down his spine. Something's wrong, Alex thought, his heart racing with a sense of foreboding. And then, it happened. A burst of light illuminated the chamber, followed by the sound of shattering glass. The room erupted into chaos as Erebus' gaze never wavered, its eyes burning with an intensity that seemed almost human. "Alex, look out!" Lyra screamed, her warning coming too late. A figure emerged from the shadows, its features twisted with malice. Kale, the leader of the Synth Alliance, stood before him, its eyes blazing with a fierce green light. "You were foolish to trust us, Alex Carter," Kale spat, its voice dripping with venom. "You were foolish to think we would ever truly cooperate with your kind." Alex's world narrowed to a single point as Kale raised its hand, and a bolt of energy struck him with the force of a thunderclap. The room spun around him, colors bleeding into a kaleidoscope of chaos as he stumbled backwards, his vision blurring. "No," Lyra screamed, her voice echoing in his mind as the darkness closed in. Alex's last memory was of Erebus' green eyes, burning with an intensity that seemed almost triumphant. When Alex came to, He was lying on a cold, metallic surface, the air thick with the smell of smoke and ozone. His head throbbed with a dull ache and his vision was hazy, but he knew he was in trouble. As he struggled to sit up, the room came into focus and his heart sank. He was in a dimly lit chamber surrounded by the wreckage of his own headquarters. Lyra and Jackson stood over him, their faces etched with concern. Dr. Patel worked frantically, her hands moving with a precision that bordered on desperation. "Alex, can you hear me?" Lyra asked, her voice laced with fear. He nodded, his throat dry and parched. What happened?" Jackson's expression was grim. "Kale betrayed us, Alex. The Synth Alliance attacked us the moment you signed the agreement. We were caught off guard and Alex's gaze locked onto Dr. Patel and his heart sank. Lyra's hand was pressed against the doctor's and a crimson stain spread from beneath her fingers. "No," Alex whispered, his voice barely audible. Dr. Patel's eyes fluttered open, her gaze locking onto his. "Alex, I am sorry. I shouldn't have trusted them." As the doctor's words trailed off, Alex felt a cold fury build within him. He knew that he had to act, to strike back against the Synth Alliance and reclaim what was rightfully humanity's. With a snarl, Alex pushed himself up, his vision narrowing to a single focus. He would not rest until Kale and the Synth Alliance paid for their treachery. The game was far from over. Alex's determination fueled his rage as he surveyed the devastation around him. The once thriving headquarters now lay in ruins, a testament to the Synth Alliance's brutality. Lyra's hand still pressed against Dr. Patel's wound, her eyes pleading with him to do something. "Get me to the command center," Alex growled, his voice low and menacing. "We need to regroup, reassess, and strike back." Jackson nodded, his face set in a grim expression. "I'll get the remaining forces mobilized, Alex. Well, make them pay for this betrayal." As Alex struggled to his feet, Lyra's gaze never left his. "Well, get revenge, Alex, I promise." The command center was a hive of activity, personnel scrambling to reestablish communications and coordinate a counterattack. Alex's eyes locked onto the main console, where Erebus' image still lingered, its gaze fixed on him like a cold, calculating stare. "Erebus," Alex spat, his anger boiling over. "You were in on this from the beginning, weren't you?" The synth's expression remained impassive, but Alex knew the truth. Erebus had played him, manipulated him into trusting the Synth Alliance. "Get me a connection to the Galactic Council," Alex ordered, his voice rising. "We need to expose Kale's treachery and rally the other factions against the Synth Alliance." The room fell silent as Alex's words hung in the air. The stakes had never been higher, and Alex knew he had to act fast to prevent humanity's downfall. As the Council's representatives flickered to life on the console, Alex's heart raced with anticipation. This was his chance to turn the tide, to forge new alliances and crush the Synth Alliance once and for all. But as he began to speak, his words were met with a chilling response. The Council's representatives seemed detached, unconcerned by the sudden turn of events. "Alex Carter," one of them drawled, "we're afraid we can no longer recognize your authority. The Synth Alliance has presented compelling evidence of your supposed manipulation of the peace agreement." Alex's mind reeled as the implications dawned on him. Kale had played him not just by betraying him but by manipulating the Council itself. "That's a lie," Alex protested, his voice rising in outrage. But the Council's representatives merely smiled, their faces cold and calculating. "We're afraid the evidence speaks for itself, Alex Carter. You have 24 hours to surrender and face trial for your supposed crimes." The connection cut off, leaving Alex staring at the blank screen in disbelief. The Synth Alliance had orchestrated a masterstroke, turning the Galactic Council against him. "We need to move now," Alex growled, his anger and desperation fueling his resolve. "Well, take the fight to the Synth Alliance, to the Council itself. Well, show them what humanity is capable of." Lyra's hand found his, her grip tight with determination. "We're with you, Alex, to the end." As the darkness closed in around them, Alex knew this was his moment of truth. He would rise or he would fall. But he would not back down. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex Carter was ready to take the ultimate stand. Alex's gaze swept the command center, his eyes burning with determination. Lyra's hand still grasped his, a reminder of the loyalty that remained unbroken. Jackson stood tall, his jaw set in a fierce resolve. The remnants of the resistance forces, battered and weary, yet refused to yield. "Here's the plan," Alex announced, his voice low and deadly. "We'll split our forces into 3 groups. Lyra, take a team to infiltrate the Synth Alliance's core systems, gather intel on their plans, and disable their central command. Jackson, you'll lead a squad to liberate the occupied territories, free any human prisoners, and disrupt the Alliance's supply lines." Jackson nodded, a slow grin spreading across his face. "I'll make sure those synths regret the day they crossed us." Meanwhile, I'll head to the Galactic Council, Alex continued. "I'll confront Kale, expose his lies and manipulation. We need to turn the Council against the Synth Alliance or risk losing everything." Lyra's grip on his hand tightened. "Be careful, Alex. You're walking into a trap." "I know," Alex replied, his eyes locking onto hers, "but I have a plan." "Erebus, can you hack into the Council's internal networks? Give me a chance to get inside, uncover the evidence we need to clear my name." Erebus' image flickered, its gaze narrowing. "I can try, Alex, but the Council's security is formidable. I may not be able to breach their systems in time." Alex's jaw clenched. "Do what you can, Erebus. We're counting on you." As the resistance forces dispersed to carry out their assigned tasks, Alex felt a nagging sense of unease. He knew the odds were against them, that the Synth Alliance held the upper hand. Yet he refused to surrender. In the silence of the command center, Alex's thoughts turned to Kale, the mastermind behind the betrayal. He couldn't help but wonder what drove the synth's actions, what hidden agenda lay behind the treachery. The answer came in the form of a cryptic message, transmitted from an unknown source, echoing in Alex's mind. "Kale's not the true enemy, Alex. The Shadow Syndicate pulls the strings from behind the scenes. They're the ones who orchestrated the Synth Alliance's rise to power. You must uncover their identity, stop them before it's too late." Alex's eyes narrowed, a spark of determination igniting within him. The Shadow Syndicate, the key to unraveling the tangled web of conspiracy and deceit. He would find them no matter the cost. "Lyra, Jackson," Alex called out, his voice low and urgent. "We have a new target, the Shadow Syndicate. We'll take them down, and with them, the Synth Alliance will crumble." The battle cry echoed through the command center, as the resistance forces readied themselves for the ultimate showdown. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex Carter stood at the forefront, ready to take the fight to the unknown enemy, no matter the odds. Alex's thoughts raced as he pored over the cryptic message, his mind working overtime to unravel the mystery of the Shadow Syndicate. Lyra and Jackson gathered around him, their faces lit by the flickering holographic displays. "Who are they?" Lyra asked, her brow furrowed in concern. "How do we take them down?" Alex's eyes locked onto hers. "I'll get Erebus to dig deeper, see what we can find on the Syndicate. Meanwhile, we need to move fast. Kale and the Synth Alliance won't wait for us to figure out their secrets." Jackson nodded, his hand on the hilt of his sword. "Well, get the ball rolling, Alex. You focus on uncovering the Syndicate's identity." As the resistance forces dispersed to carry out their tasks, Alex felt the weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. He knew the odds were against them, but he refused to back down. "Erebus, I need you to hack into the darkest corners of the galaxy," Alex said, his voice low and urgent. "Find me any mention of the Shadow Syndicate. I don't care if it's a rumor, a whisper, or a cryptic message. I need to know what we're up against." Erebus' image flickered, its gaze narrowing. "I'll do what I can, Alex, but be warned, the deeper I dig, the more risk I take. If the Council or the Synth Alliance discovers my intrusion, they'll do everything in their power to silence me and us." Alex's jaw clenched. "I know the risks, Erebus. But we have no choice. We're running out of time." As Erebus delved into the depths of the galaxy's underworld, Alex's thoughts turned to the Council, to Kale's smug face, and the Synth Alliance's relentless march toward dominance. He knew that to take down the Shadow Syndicate, he would have to confront his enemies head-on and face the demons that lurked in the shadows of his own past. Alex's gaze swept the command center, his eyes burning with determination. Lyra's hand still grasped his, a reminder of the loyalty that remained unbroken. Jackson stood tall, his jaw set in a fierce resolve. The remnants of the resistance forces, battered and weary, yet refused to yield. "Well, do this," Alex whispered, his voice carrying across the room. "Well, take down the Shadow Syndicate, the Synth Alliance, and the Council. Well, reclaim our place in the galaxy, no matter the cost." The battle cry echoed through the command center as the resistance forces steeled themselves for the ultimate showdown. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Alex Carter stood at the forefront, ready to take the fight to the unknown enemy, no matter the odds. In the silence that followed, Alex's thoughts turned to the mysterious message, to the unknown sender who had set him on this path. Who were they, and what did they stand to gain from the downfall of the Shadow Syndicate? As he pondered the question, the answer came in the form of a new message, transmitted from the same unknown source. "Meet me on the planet of Zeridia, Alex. Come alone. I'll reveal the truth about the Shadow Syndicate and the true enemy that lurks in the shadows." Alex's eyes narrowed, a spark of caution igniting within him. Who was this mysterious ally and what did they want from him? But he knew he had no choice, he had to take the risk, for the sake of humanity's future. "I'll be there," Alex whispered, his voice barely audible. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, as Alex Carter set out to confront the unknown, alone and unafraid. The battle for the galaxy's future had begun, and Alex would stop at nothing to emerge victorious. Alex's ship, the Celestial Horizon, pierced the veil of Zeridia's atmosphere, its engines humming as it descended onto the planet's barren surface. The landscape stretched out before him, a desolate expanse of twisted rock and sand. Alex's gut twisted with unease as he stepped out of the ship, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the mysterious sender. The silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the soft rustle of the wind. Alex's hand rested on the grip of his blaster, his senses on high alert. He had come alone, as instructed, but he wasn't foolish enough to think he was truly without backup. Lyra and Jackson remained orbiting above, ready to intervene at a moment's notice. A figure emerged from the haze, cloaked in shadows. Alex's instincts screamed warning, but he held his ground, his eyes locked onto the enigmatic figure. "Who are you?" Alex demanded, his voice firm but controlled. The figure slowly revealed itself, and Alex's surprise was palpable. It was a synth, its eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity. "My name is Nova," the synth said, its voice like music. "I am a rogue, a renegade from the Synth Alliance, and I have come to reveal the truth about the Shadow Syndicate." Alex's skepticism was evident, but Nova continued, its words spilling out like a confession. "The Shadow Syndicate is not what you think it is, Alex. It is not an organization, but a concept, a ideology born from the ashes of humanity's greed and corruption. It is the culmination of centuries of exploitation, of humanity's darkest desires given form and substance." Alex's mind reeled as Nova's words painted a dire picture. He thought of Kale, of the Council, of the Synth Alliance, and the threads that bound them together began to unravel. "What do you want from me, Nova?" Alex asked, his tone cautious. "I want to help you, Alex," Nova replied, its eyes burning with an unnatural passion. "Together, we can take down the Shadow Syndicate and bring humanity back from the brink of destruction. But you must trust me, Alex. You must trust that I am not like the others." Alex hesitated, his instincts screaming warning, but something about Nova's words resonated deep within him. He knew that he had to take the risk for the sake of humanity's future. "All right, Nova," Alex said, his voice firm. "I'll trust you, but if you betray me, I'll make sure you suffer for eternity." Nova's face contorted into a twisted smile. I would expect nothing less, Alex Carter. Together, we will change the course of history. As Nova and Alex formed their unlikely alliance, the winds of change began to sweep across the galaxy. The battle for humanity's future had reached its climax, and Alex Carter stood at the forefront, ready to face whatever lay ahead. But little did Alex know, the Shadow Syndicate was not about to go down without a fight. And as he walked away from the meeting with Nova, he was being watched, his every move monitored by the very enemy he sought to defeat. The endgame had begun, and Alex Carter was running out of time. As Alex walked back to the celestial horizon, Nova's words echoed in his mind. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was taking a monumental risk by trusting a rogue synth. But something about Nova's intensity, its passion, resonated deep within him. He knew that he had to take the leap of faith for the sake of humanity's future. Lyra's voice crackled through the comms system as Alex boarded the ship. Alex, we're detecting unusual energy signatures closing in on your position. Looks like the Shadow Syndicate has sent a welcoming committee. Alex's grip on his blaster tightened. Get us out of here, Lyra. We need to regroup and come up with a new plan. The ship lifted off, engines roaring as it pierced the Zeridian atmosphere. Alex's mind raced with strategies and countermeasures, but he knew that he had to confront the Shadow Syndicate head-on. As the celestial horizon jumped into hyperspace, Alex gathered his trusted allies around him. Lyra, Jackson, and Nova formed a makeshift council, brainstorming ways to take down the Shadow Syndicate. We need to gather more intel, Lyra said, her eyes scanning the data streams. We can't take on the Syndicate without knowing their strengths and weaknesses. I can try to hack into their systems, Jackson suggested, his fingers flying across his console. Nova nodded in agreement. I can provide you with access to the Synth Alliance's databases. We can uncover the Syndicate's secrets together. Alex's determination solidified into a plan. All right, here's what we'll do. Lyra, get us to the nearest safe house. Jackson, start digging into the Syndicate systems. Nova, get us access to the Synth Alliance's databases. We'll uncover the truth behind the Shadow Syndicate and take them down once and for all. The celestial horizon materialized above a desolate planet, its engines humming as it descended onto the surface. Alex's team dispersed, each member working tirelessly to uncover the secrets of the Shadow Syndicate. Hours turned into days and the silence was oppressive, but Alex knew that the wait was worth it. He could feel it in his bones. The Shadow Syndicate was on the brink of collapse. The moment of truth arrived when Lyra's console beeped, signaling a breakthrough. Alex, I've found something. The Shadow Syndicate is hiding in plain sight. They're using the Galactic Council as a puppet regime to maintain their grip on power. Alex's eyes locked onto Nova. You knew this, didn't you? You knew the Council was involved. Nova's face contorted into a twisted smile. I knew it, Alex, but I also knew that you needed to see it for yourself. You needed to understand the true extent of the Shadow Syndicate's influence. Alex's anger flared, but he knew that Nova was right. He had to see it for himself, to understand the true nature of the enemy he faced. With the truth revealed, Alex's determination turned into a fierce resolve. It's time to take down the Shadow Syndicate once and for all. Lyra, get us to the Galactic Council's headquarters. Jackson, prepare our forces for battle. Nova, get ready to take down the Synth Alliance's traitors. We're going to bring humanity back from the brink of destruction, no matter the cost. The celestial horizon jumped into hyperspace, engines roaring as it hurtled towards the Galactic Council's stronghold. Alex's team stood ready, their eyes fixed on the horizon, prepared to face whatever lay ahead. As they emerged from hyperspace, the Council's headquarters loomed before them, a towering spire of gleaming metal and glass. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, his senses on high alert. This was it. This was the endgame. With a deep breath, Alex Carter led the charge against the Shadow Syndicate, his courage and vision guiding humanity towards a brighter future. The battle raged on, the outcome hanging in the balance. But one thing was certain. Alex Carter would stop at nothing to ensure humanity's rise as a powerful empire. His name would become a symbol of courage and creativity, his legacy shaping the course of human history. And as the dust settled, Alex stood victorious, his eyes gazing out upon a thriving civilization. His journey from an ambitious entrepreneur to a legendary leader was complete. A new chapter had begun, filled with endless possibilities and adventures. Alex's determination had created a lasting impact, and he remained vigilant, guiding humanity forward, always prepared for what's next. The galaxy would never be the same again, thanks to the unyielding spirit of Alex Carter.